I'm Bobby Ross, Managing Editor of the Christian Chronicle, and I'm here with Darryl Tippens at Pepperdine University in Malibu, California this morning.
Welcome.
Beautiful campus you have here.
We're glad to have you.
We're going to talk about the Ascending Voice Symposium. Could you tell me a little bit about what that is and what it's all about?
Well, it's really hard to explain because it's many different things, but in brief, it is a convergence and a kind of convention of people from all over the world who love congregational singing and who love specifically a cappella congregational singing. So it's people who are church members, or they may be musicians, they may be composers, they may be singers, they may be theologians, but it's anyone who loves singing in church.
And that there are people besides just members of Churches of Christ who appreciate that?
Absolutely. In fact, the truth is we probably have as many people or more people who come from other traditions than we do from Churches of Christ. So it's quite a mix.
Wow. What traditions would you have represented here this week?
Well, in addition to Churches of Christ, we have Eastern Orthodox, we have Armenian Orthodox, we have Reformed Presbyterians, we have Episcopalians, Roman Catholics, and a smattering of others.
Would a member of a Church of Christ going into one of those services recognize kind of their worship style, or is it different types of singing and different styles that we're seeing this week?
Well, one of the things you will find out at Ascending Voice is the style of music almost within any given church is generally rather narrow. But the spectrum of what's possible with a cappella music in church is extremely broad. And so I would say almost everyone here has been surprised and challenged because there are ways to do a cappella music that's probably very different from what one grew up with. I just experienced in the conference singing Gregorian chant. I assure you I didn't grow up doing Gregorian chant, but I found out that within 45 minutes it's possible to do it.
What is Gregorian chant?
Well,
could
actually,
you demonstrate that now?
No, I cannot. I will not embarrass myself. But the truth is, when Christianity began, it began with a cappella singing. All historians know this and agree to it. But it was a kind of chant. They didn't have the popular melodies that we think of, that many of us grew up on. And it was a form of reciting the Psalms and other scriptures, very much like what a Jewish cantor would do in a synagogue. And that was the style of music that was brought over into the early church. That style of chanting has continued for 2,000 years. And so what we're, in a sense, doing is recovering the memory of how early Christians worshiped.
And tell me, I guess, obviously, a cappella singing is important to you, and you mentioned something that you grew up with. Why organize, I guess this is the second time that you've had this symposium, but why have you done this? What is it personally that brought you to this point?
Well, my sense is that as good as congregational singing is, and as important to me as a cappella music is, there are a lot of evidences that it's under stress and even at risk in North American culture anyway. And we, Lincoln Hanks, who was the co-director with me, really felt like there were a lot of things we could do to freshen the experience and renew the experience, showing people that it's much bigger, much more interesting, and much more different in some ways than what people know.
So what do you hope is accomplished this week?
Well, I hope we're planting a mustard seed here. And that by bringing in people literally from all over the United States and from around the world, we will create a rich new understanding of a cappella music, and there will be a new fervor about the importance of preserving it, taking it home to our local congregations, sharing what we've learned, and in a sense renewing the tradition. Any tradition that survives for many generations has to be renewed in some way. Frankly, a cappella music has become stale and even boring in many churches. It need not be. It could be quite exciting.
Do you think about it in terms of tradition or doctrine, or how do you see a cappella singing?
Well, obviously there's a doctrinal element to it. There are biblical reasons why we do it. But let me also say, in many churches, we have turned a cappella music into a barrier. It's become a wall of separation between us and others. It doesn't have to be a wall. I think this week the wall has fallen and it's become a bridge. A cappella music should be a bridge to all sorts of people in our culture. And if we find it's a barrier, we're doing it wrong.
Well, thank you very much for the interview, and we'll have more in the Christian Chronicle.
Thank you.